Breaking news, the National Park Service has removed references to Harriet Tubman from the Underground Railroad page by the Trump administration.
So y'all removed Harriet Tubman from the Underground Railroad page. Y'all removed Harriet Tubman from the Underground Railroad page. There is no Underground Railroad reference without Harriet Tubman. Black people, start educating your kids at home because they really are trying to erase the significance of our people. And I'm trying not to get frustrated. That's just pissed me off. That really just made me mad. That just made me mad. And I see a lot of shit that they're doing, but it's becoming like, for real?
Harriet Tubman freed over 300 African Americans from slavery. After escaping slavery herself using the Underground Railroad, which was a network of safe houses and secret routes used to help African American slaves to escape to free states, Harriet Tubman, known by her admirers as Moses, decided to travel back into the South to rescue her niece and her niece's daughters. This act of bravery would begin a series of trips to and from the Confederate States over the course of 10 years, in which she risked her life and her newfound liberty to escort somewhere between 70 to 300 people to freedom. After the Civil War broke out in 1861, Tubman joined a group of abolitionists and headed south to help escaped slaves behind Union lines. She worked as a nurse, a scout and a spy, and it was her reconnaissance work that was crucial in the Combahee River Raid, when she would become the first woman to lead a major military operation in America. During her later years, Tubman would work to promote the cause of women's suffrage. However, in a rather unfitting end, after all of her years of heroism and bravery, she would die in borderline poverty.
Y'all, I really cannot even make it to 9 a.m. on a Monday morning without having to post about this current administration. Are you kidding me? Removing Harriet Tubman from National Park's webpage about the Underground Railroad. You've got to be kidding me. How dare you? How dare this administration try to whitewash our history and whitewash this American hero?
Every single person that had a hand in this man being in office, this is on you. Whether directly or indirectly, I don't give a damn what the percentage is. If you knew that you had a hand somehow, some way of this man being in office, this is on you. This is why black people holistically in this country are bowing out of all protests. Don't want nothing to do with no freaking allyship or kumbayas. We are done with all of it. And this is why. Because we saw this coming from a mile away. Specifically black women. They saw it coming from a mile away. This is why we vote. This is why we vote. And this is why we try to vote for Kamala November 5th.
It's giving erasure. It's giving whitewashing. It's giving Trump's America. It's giving, oh, we see exactly what you're doing. And most importantly, it's giving news.
When that Pharaoh chariot comes, I'm gonna leave you. I'm sorry, I'm gonna leave you. Farewell, oh farewell, but I'll meet you in the morning. Farewell, farewell.
Visiting parts of the Underground Railroad.
There's the old church used to there be an entrance over there to come in, and that was part of the Underground Railroad. You can see the new pretty bricks or boulders, not boulders.
I do own you, Mandy. Even now, you're mine.
I was never yours, Gideon. I was never nobody's property. Ever since your daddy sold my sisters, I prayed for God to make me strong enough to fight. And that's what I prayed for ever since. I reasoned that there was one or two things I had a right to. Liberty or death. If I couldn't have one, I'd have the other.
You know what they're gonna do to you when they catch you. They will tear you limb from limb, tar you and burn you alive. And even if I'm not there to watch it, I can almost smell it now. Like roasting pig
You're gonna die right here. On a freezing, blood-soaked battlefield. The moans of a generation of young men dying around you in agony for a lost cause, for a vile and wicked idea, for the sin of slavery. Can you hear him? God don't mean people to own people, Gideon. Our time is near.
Harriet Tubman met her second husband, Nelson Davis, when he became a boarder at her home in Auburn, New York. This was around winter of 1866. Nelson was an Army veteran turned bricklayer that was over 20 years younger than Harriet, who at the time was in her 40s. Now, it isn't known when they began to date. However, sometime during their courtship, Harriet received news that would be devastating to some while joyous to others. In October of 1867, her first husband, the man that wouldn't escape north with her despite being a free man, the man who moved on from her and broke her heart, John Tubman, was killed. A white man shot him in front of one of his 4 kids. Now, while Harriet must have been saddened by this news, like Celine Dion sung, her heart must go on, and did. Because on March 18, 1869, Harriet and Nelson got married. Harriet kept her ex-husband's surname while adding on Nelson's to the end, frequently going by Harriet Tubman Davis or Mrs. Davis. Now, their community was happy to celebrate the couple's union, especially her family, and knowing all that she had been through. At that point, Harriet Tubman was widely known, so her wedding announcement was news in the local paper. Nelson, unlike John, was a supportive husband. Dr. Clinton wrote, quote, "Davis would encourage his wife in her philanthropic endeavors. He assisted her wherever he could and was the proud husband of Harriet Tubman." Sometime during their marriage, Harriet and Nelson adopted a daughter named Gertie. Now, there's not a lot that we know about Gertie other than seeing her in a few family photos and that she allegedly passed away at a very young age. Speaking of being gone too soon, despite Nelson being considerably younger than Harriet, he struggled with tuberculosis from the time she met him. His health continued to fail to the point where he couldn't continue to work, which caused a financial strain on the family. Sadly, by October 1888, and after 19 years of marriage to Harriet, Nelson passed away. Her husband's death gave her the ability to get veterans benefits, which allowed her to receive $8 a month. That was a lot of money. Harriet would live almost 25 additional years after Nelson died. On March 10th, 1913, Harriet passed away after a battle with an illness. So outside of her life as an abolitionist, one that brought about 70 people to freedom, a feminist, and an overall activist, she was a wife, a mother, an aunt, a sister, a daughter, and simply a person. Someone who emoted, someone who hurt, someone who struggled, someone who persevered. Through her 90+ years of life, she lived and loved as fully as she could. And that, aisle runners, concludes the love story of Harriet Tubman. We're wrapping our Black Women in Excellence series this month with another great love story next week. So subscribe, follow, share, and come back. Thank you for enjoying this week's I'll Tell You What love story on Harriet Tubman. If you missed any piece to this week's episode, I suggest you go and catch up or just watch the full episode on the Tube of You. A new love story drops every Monday, so you know what to do.
So this is Harriet Tubman's home in Auburn, New York.
And you were telling me something about the side.
The side porch, this is where it is said that she loved to sit on her side porch and look across at her other 25 acres, right? So she would live here
And sit on it.
and sit on this. Look at that other 25 acres she has.
It's like, that's mine.
That's right. I think we also have to be realistic. You know, Anne Harriet lived here for the last 50 years of her life, but she wasn't a celebrity every day. She was a normal woman every day. Because we rarely get the opportunity to do this, is to peek in the window. Yeah, right? And look at, you know, the construction. It's not her to have this space and this amount of space and your own personal home after plantation life. For her must have felt like a tremendous blessing, almost a miracle.